Right, okay, so from one Dirt 3 run to another Dirt 3 run. So we've just had Season 1 by FireFox, now get ready for the Single Discipline Championships. Trailblazer. So this is basically the Trailblazer Championship. And yeah, take it away, FireFox. You're live. Go ahead.
Hello, and welcome back. So, quick swap over, just need to change over the save file. And so this will be the Single Discipline Championship Trailblazer category. So once you've unlocked further into the game, you unlock these World Championship events. We've got Land Rush, Trailblazer, Rallycross, Rally. We're going to be doing the Trailblazer one. And so the aim of this category is to get first place in all 4 of these events, or 5 depending, or 3 depending on which other discipline you're doing. Don't need to do that. Don't need to do that at all. And so we will be starting off the run with Norway for a skip, as well as just menuing works out better. So, with that out of the way, we can start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So the Trailblazer category is basically just a bunch of really high speed rally racing, fastest cars in the game. So if we crash, it's going to be spectacular. But we've got this first skip coming up right now, and hopefully this goes well. I don't think it's going well because I think my controller might have just died. Hold on a sec, I've got a spare controller, I'll just quickly plug that in. Don't worry, we can still save this. Okay, now we're all good. Yes, that does work. Excellent. So yeah, we can save this run, that's not going to be a huge issue. Mostly because that was a joke, my controller didn't actually die. But yeah, so that's called DNF skip. We literally just DNF out of the first race. So within Trailblazer and Rally, the goal to get first place is the sum of your total times over all 3 courses. So commentary is going to be a little bit lax here because I really need to focus and get as fast as possible. So by setting ourselves to difficulty 6 on that first race, we minimize the amount of penalty time that we got for failing that first race, which when you do a DNF skip, it's equal to the AI's last place time plus 1 minute. So by setting ourselves to difficulty 6, the difference between first place and last place, oh, please be nice about the overtake. He was not nice. So the difference between first place and last place for the AI is minimized. I think for this track it's about 3 seconds. So we need to make up 1 minute and 3 to 4 seconds on whichever AI is going to come first place in this race. So we set ourselves back to difficulty 1 to try to make up as much time as possible against the other races. Oh my god, these overtakes are not being nice. And this is a very RNG dependent category. Norway is the most difficult. There's a 90% chance of failure at the end of this, so I do not expect to get first place, especially with that start. So there's essentially 3 different RNG factors to whether this category will even work at all. So this is more of a route showcase rather than actually going to be a valid run. So 1 is the first place AI's final time. 2 is the last place AI's time on the actual DNF skip, and 3 is all this traffic RNG and all these overtake points we have to deal with. So ideally I want to aim for a 2 minute and 56 second time. I've been a bit slow at that start point, so I think we're already past that. Yeah, so currently, especially with these overtakes, they're messing up my lines really badly at the moment. So I have had runs where I can get a 254 even with traffic on. That was a very lucky run though at the time. But yeah, so the world record currently does use this route, so we kind of have to go with it at the moment. I'm playing it a little bit safe, a little bit slow just so I don't crash out, because we're most likely not going to get first place in this event with that DNF skip, even though it is theoretically possible. However, if we're lucky, this will actually work out. We'll take a look at the final times at the end, just to show off how close of a run this is. So whenever you do a DNF skip, it's basically a combination of skill and luck. So the faster you go, the less you have to deal with the RNG. 57, low 57, that's not too bad actually. So the faster you go, the less RNG you have to deal with. But yeah, there is still just a limit. And so we choose this car here, which is called the SX4 Monster, which has the highest top speed of the cars in the game for most of these Trailblazer tracks. The other car that we choose is the PM580, and the difference between the cars is is not really too much, especially when untuned. Again, the cars are all very balanced when they're not tuned. But this can just be a little bit faster in some places, if you don't screw up the turns. So let's try to get a good run here, aiming for 128. Nice smooth corners that we want to aim for. I don't like having to overtake at this section. Is he on the inside? He's on the inside. Have to go around the outside. But yeah, if you have any slowdown at all, it is very difficult to get 128 on this course. So yes, difficulty 1 AI, do not want to deal with as much as possible, but this category is full of it. Choose which. Don't go in the center. Can't tell what you're doing when you go in the center. Typically, if you overtake the AI on a straightaway, they do recognize that you're going to overtake them, and they will move to one side or the other. But if there's even a slight corner, they will stick on their racing line. The worst possible case is when you have to overtake 2 AI at the same time, and the back one is trying to overtake the front one. And then there's just no room to overtake either. So let's take a quick look at the final times here. Oh my goodness, that was... Wow. I've never seen the first place AI get a 242 before. Normally it's like a 640 is the good RNG. That was fantastic RNG. If I'd gone like literally a millisecond faster, we would have had an actual run on our hands. I'm so sad by that. Oh my god. We got the good RNG on the actual marathon run. I wasn't expecting that. And I screwed it up as well. Because marathon safety. Yep, so we're currently stick on difficulty 1 here, because we are doing a DNF skip on the last track instead of the first track this time. So we do DNF skips on the longest tracks that we can skip while still actually but that we can still actually beat the first place AI on. So for Norway, because it's so tight, we have to take the very first track, which is the shortest track. I'll skip the water nicely there. But for Kenya, we get to skip a 3-minute track, which is very nice to deal with. So yeah, for this track, that first corner that we just did is basically the only corner, only real corner that we have to deal with. Avoid that boulder, because I've definitely crashed into that way too many times. So Kenya is a very straight track. This is the only course where using the SX4 Monster has a significant difference, even when untuned. All the other cars just can't reach the top speed, and this is a very top speedy track. But Kenya's also a bit dangerous for those metal plates. And overtaking AI along those metal plates is also another very dangerous overtake point, so we hopefully do not want to deal with that RNG as well. Because it's very easy to crash if you have no grip going over those metal plates. So looking for about a 126 here. Should be good for it. Oh, nice 125. So Kenya's one short track and then two long tracks. Norway was short, long, short. Finland and Michigan is also short, long, short. But we unfortunately can't do any DNF skips in Finland or Michigan just because the courses are overall just too short. So Kenya and Norway's long tracks are just under 3 minutes, while Finland and Michigan's long tracks are under 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So it's that 30-second difference that makes the DNF skip not possible on those other two tracks, which is unfortunate. DNF skip is much easier during an actual any % run, because you normally don't have to deal with 3 events. You usually get 4 or 5 events that you can do DNF skip. Sorry, 4 or 5 tracks in a single event that you can do DNF skip on. So you get like a whole extra track to make up time on the AI for. There is a couple of tracks where getting second place can get out of the way. That you can get a second place on. However, due to even with that second place, you get enough points to move on through the career. So it's not. So again, it's much easier. So even if you do get bad RNG on one, it's still perfectly safe to do to continue with the run during an actual any % run. But we don't get to DNF skips until... Yeah, let me squeeze through there. Thank you. We don't get to DNF skips until... Oh, no. This is what I'm talking about with the gates. Just lost a lot of time there because we're normally full speed down this section. So we really should be at top speed by now, but nope. Thanks to that AI. Poor placement there. But we don't get to DNF skips until Season 3 and Season 4. There's one DNF skip that we can do in Season 3, and I think there's 3 DNF skips in Season 4. So overall, during an 80% run, DNF skip saves about 15 minutes, which is by far the biggest time save that we get during the full career mode. Dialogue skip by itself saves about 5 minutes, because most of the dialogue is done in Season 1. There's a little bit in Season 2, but... yeah. So skip the water there again. So you can see here, just full throttle all the way through. Good, don't have to deal with another AI along this checkpoint. These corners up here is where the other cars would actually start to overtake the monster, because the monster is a very loose car, while the others just have a ton more grip. And so with these narrow corners here, that you can gain a little bit of time, but overall it doesn't make up enough, anywhere close to near enough time as those like full speed sections. Man, having to do a lot of overtakes this run. And so this next corner after this downhill here, you can see it coming up right now. You cannot full speed that. If you try to, you will die. So I'm going to take it very safe here. If you cut the inside there, the geometry is very whack, and it just propels you up into the air like crazy. Yep, that was a very slow time. I was aiming for 302 there. So yeah, that last corner is very nasty. So always just play that safer than it needs, because crashing is bad. Good commentary, good commentary. Yep, so DNF skip for this track here. We will be going to difficulty 5 though, just because it sets up the difficulty for Finland and Michigan. Because doing difficulty 6, DNF DNF's difficulty 6 Michigan is very difficult for some reason. And doing difficulty 5 on here, the first place AI and the last place AI is at maximum about 10 seconds apart. On difficulty 6 it's normally about 3 to 4 like I mentioned before, so we're not really losing too much time here. And there's a lot of, and with good RNG is about 20 seconds below. Oh, that's, yeah, very close. At least we got a successful DNF skip. Yay! Way closer than it needed to be though. Like I lost 4 seconds in that second race, so thanks to the AI. But yeah, this Kenya one has a much higher chance of actually succeeding. It's still failable with bad RNG, but the failure rate on Kenya I would say is about 20%, while the failure rate on Norway is honestly about 90%. And so both Finland and Michigan are probably the tracks that have the most feasible cuts. So like I mentioned before, the cuts with the other disciplines are normally, you get too much of a bounce to be consistent with them, and so you just lose too much time bouncing and jumping over the grass. But for Trailblazer, your car's a little bit raised, especially with this monster, and they also flatten the geometry. And so we're doing Finland right now, and back in season 1 run, I mentioned the gutter running technique. Not possible because they flatten out the gutters for Trailblazer, which is unfortunate because I like gutter running. But yeah, a couple of small unintentional cuts that we will be doing over in Finland and Michigan. There's one in this track here, towards the end of the race. But the long tracks are always a combination of both short tracks, and so since we've got short, long, short in this one, we're basically doing the reverse of the first. We are doing the first half of the long track here, and for the third short track we will be doing the reverse of the first half of that long track, because good to reuse assets, and just reversing tracks is a very easy way to save on assets and coding, and it just feels like a new track anyway, so I really don't blame them. First cut coming up. Squeeze between here. Always a bit scary, that one. Lost my bumper. Ideally I'd wanted 135 there. So that cut won't be available in this next race. They actually do put up a barrier, so you can't go through there, which is a bit strange. I don't entirely know if that was intentional, that they allow you to cut through there on the short tracks, but maybe they just forgot. And then that cut is also a lot scarier going on the next track after this, since it opens back up. But yeah, for now we have a bit of downtime as we focus on this track. Very full speed track this is, especially the start here, which is very nice. Really get to showcase the monster and what it can do. Really push it to its limits. If we were to tune it, it would be even better, but no time for tuning. So the way tuning works, I probably should have explained this, is that there's like 5 different categories that you can play around with. But the problem is they don't save between races. If they saved throughout an entire event, then it might be useful to apply a tuning to it. And you can, but unfortunately there's not. They don't do that, so you would have to reapply the same tuning every single time, which is very annoying. You can save presets. Oh no, bad oversteer there. And that's why we choose difficulty 5 and not difficulty 6, because if I had chosen difficulty 6, we would have been screwed based on that one spin out. Yep. But for the most part, should still be able to clutch out first place here. So yeah, you can save out presets, but you still have to go into the menus to apply the preset every single time. And so just going into that menu itself is about 3 seconds. And just to set up the actual tuning would probably take even longer. And so, yeah, we want to minimize as many menus as possible, which is why we take the route through Norway on difficulty 6 and then end on difficulty 5 in Kenya. So we'd never have to readjust the difficulty again. And it also means that, like, with Norway being the most RNG dependent of this category, then, like, we get that out of the way as soon as possible, and we can just grind Norway a bit for good RNG when we actually do go for proper runs. Say hello to the lighthouse. Actually, is that a lighthouse? I don't know. I just always assumed it's a lighthouse, but it's a very short lighthouse. Now that I look at it. Maybe it's just European lighthouses are shorter. Most awkward corner of the game. Someone's bumper. Yeah, you can't push those bumpers out of the way. They will get caught underneath your wheels. And I have had some runs... Yep, still first place, good. And I have had some runs where, like, I accidentally drive over a bumper and then it just gets stuck in my wheel and then I literally can't move. So I want to avoid that as much as possible, because that's not fun. That is not fun.
I'm gonna say I've just seen you do the hardest corner in my eye game. It's probably one of the hardest ones ever, especially in the Trailblazer. The corner that goes back on yourself, basically a square. It goes right, then on the bridge again. Right behind you.
Yeah, it's very difficult to go fast on that corner.
Yeah, always used to really anger me that corner. I could never get it. No matter how many times I went through it, how fast I went. It was either you go too slow, you spin out. You go too fast, well, you get the picture on that one.
Yeah, that's one of the times where drifting is actually, or sliding is actually a bit faster. Doing the reverse of the cut. Ow, nope. Yeah, that's why that's a lot more difficult going in the reverse direction. Like, they get rid of the car that was initially in the way, but, like, because you're driving at nighttime, and also because you're cutting the grass first instead of afterwards. When you cut the grass, you do a little bit of a jump, and so if you're slightly off at the wrong angle for that jump, then you just have no time to readjust and you just go straight into those wooden planks. So
I have a question regarding Trailblazer. So, in your opinion, do the night stages scare you than the day ones? As in, like, do you find the night ones more interesting or more terrifying?
I have the routes.
The daylight ones.
I have the tracks memorized at this point, so they're not really any more different. It's just that one little cut you need visibility to set up for. I am spinning a lot out on Finland, jeez. But yeah, it's not really an issue. It's just for that one cut that actually makes a bit of a difference. So yeah, you can see that one little spin. Actually, no, I did crash. So yeah, that explains the second place, actually. Yeah. So even with difficulty 5, it's a bit sketchy, but... but yeah, in terms of all the weather effects and stuff, it's not really any different. I approach it pretty much the same. And last track is Michigan. And so we get to see the PM580 here. More of a personal preference. I think it's slightly faster than the Monster, which is why we use it. But Michigan is a very grippy track. In terms of which is faster between Modern and Classic, they are actually about the same. So I can't remember what the car is in Classic, but it's like the green car. And that is blazingly fast. Like, sometimes it's even faster than the modern cars in some of our time trial records. Which doesn't make sense to me.
The Audi Quattro?
No, it's not the Quattro. It, like, had some custom name to it.
Because I'm going to say, the classic ones is the Quattro, Peugeot 205, I think it... I think that's about it. There might be, there's probably like 2 others. I mean, there's 4 cars per event. The only 2 I can think of are them ones.
I think there's only...
Or maybe the Suzuki. I don't know, Suzuki maybe. Pikes Peak one. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think you might be thinking of possibly Group B there. because like all these Trailblazer cars are basically custom cars. But yeah, Michigan, we get to cut this grass a lot more. Much flatter grass, which is nice.
I know that the Quattro's got a Pikes Peak that's in here. That's in the classic one, but that's about... I don't really know the other ones. I think there is a green Quattro.
Yeah, it's possibly that.
White. It could be that. I don't know. You never know.
Honestly, I just know the cars for their colours. If I'm honest, I only looked up the names for the modern runs for this run. So.
I have to admit, one thing that stood out. I mean, I know Young on his run that he liked the Dirt 2 a bit more than Dirt 3. I always thought Dirt 3 got its sounds a bit better, nailed them better. Plus, I think the car selection was improved here as well. I mean, we did have Audi Quattros and stuff in the first Dirt. They didn't really make much from the prints in the second one, but then the third one, they were there and thereabouts, and they were really fun to drive. Trailblazer, I think, to be honest, Trailblazer is like the most frantic and obviously one of the most, the most frantic and quickest runs that there is, I think, in terms of championships.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the looks of it, I mean, even if it might, I don't think it is. Is it the shortest like individual championship? I presume so.
Only because of DNF skipping. I think it's the Land Rush / Buggy championship that's actually the fastest, simply because there's less courses that you have to do. So Trailblazer without DNF skipping is about 40 minutes, if I recall correctly. No, just under 40 minutes actually.
Right.
If you were to do Land Rush / Buggies, it's about a 32-minute run. Just because you only have to do about 2 courses, I think. Even though it's just driving in circles for half an hour, it's very boring.
Also, I spotted, same as what Mario spotted, the Evo 10 at the start of the stage. It was just chilling in the background, the red one.
Was it parked? I've never noticed it.
Yeah. Just parked at the side of the road.
Huh.
I'd never noticed that before. It's funny when you're not playing and with the sideline.
Okay, got bumped up there into the air, so I lost a bit of grip. That could have gone a lot worse. That's why I like to avoid the bumps. Yeah, the only time we see an Evo 10 is with Gymkhana. Which, incidentally, Gymkhana is the only class that's not balanced for speed. They're just like balanced for fun. And so we have this mod called the ACAT mod, which is basically all cars, all tracks, which allows you to play with Gymkhana cars on like the rally events and the Trailblazer events. Small cut here. Small cheeky cut. And it turns out that Evo is actually the fastest of those cars by far to run with, so a little fun fact there. If we were able to use them, that's the one we would use. We do have an ACAT leaderboard, so we can actually do runs for individual levels with that mod enabled, which can be quite a bit fun. But I also noticed that running with that mod, my game seems to stutter a bit more, so I'd prefer to have it turned off.
You know what's funny? I always used to think I was pretty good at this game until I saw like, I am not that good. God, I'll tell you something. It's weird when you play a game for years and you multiplayer used to beat people left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Speedrunning's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's mostly pretty predictable. While if you have to deal with other people, it depends on whether they are going to play nice or not. In online, like, most people are pretty good. Like, no one's really ramming each other off the road, but you occasionally still get that one person, and then you can just kick them out of the lobby though, so it's fine.
I always used to enjoy the joyride mode. Fine, you just get a load of friends, 3 or 4 of you, just smash each other up and just have a bit of a laugh, just messing around.
Yeah,
Even though it was like half an hour, it was just fun to mess about.
Yeah. My favorite of the mini games would probably been the I can't remember what it was, but it's like one person is in the the 60s mini, and then everyone else is just in super fast cars, and just whichever team can get the mini across the line the fastest, the first. And so everyone's just yeah, that's the one, and everyone's just smashing everyone up.
One person drives the mini.
Yeah.
I always used to what? I mean, for me, I was like, I'd rather be the mini than the cat.
Yes.
Protecting the mini, because I thought, well, if I've got to be the one that's following a car, I'd rather be driving it than following it, because it's fun.
Yeah.
That's what the chase is all about. The cats basically smash, crash, and block the other guy in. I used to love doing it. Funnily enough, it still works now, I guarantee it. Try it for those that have never done it. If you ever played the cat and mouse before, if you're driving the mini, you see a fast car, you probably done it before, but if you haven't, slam your brakes on, they go flying past you, drive through. I used to do it all the time. Like, I'd see a car come, slam the brakes on, swerve out the way. They'd be like, where's he going? Because obviously, you just got the forest. And I'd just stop and then come back on track and just go, thanks, bye, meow. Straight past. Oh, honestly, it's
that's time, by the way.
Oh, damn. Let me get myself ready.
Yeah, sorry, giving you a bit more of a heads up there.
No, 29:36 I got.
29:36. Can't remember what my
There was another one actually. There was Cat and Mouse and Infection. I think it.
Yeah, I never really liked Infection that much, but.
Well, there was always a nice little hiding place.
Oh, really?
Collision detection in you know in the main building.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, if you go in Joyride, we could probably show this off.
Okay. I'm running the game in Spanish though, so do you remember the menus to get there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You go right to the far end, I believe.
Is it in multiplayer or my dirt?
So if
right. If you go into the...
When you're in season mode, just go right to the end.
There's the Gymkhana.
Outbreak, that's it, not Infection. Outbreak. Yeah, so you do go right to the far left, and Gymkhana thing.
Oh, that thing, yeah, the parking lot.
Far left hand side. And it should say Joyride. Fantasy Compound, that's it.
Yeah, there's the parking lot stuff.
And then, is it just parking lot, or is there anything?
There's parking lot, depot, and power station.
Go with power station.
Okay. I can bring up the other save file if it's on the last one.
Yeah. If you crashed into the water, you became infected.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I definitely tried that myself. Just like try to cheese everyone out.
Any car works. Any car will work. So, right. So this is gonna be fun because now I've got to direct you. Unless you know it already.
I do not.
So there's an invisible collision barrier thing, and a lot of people actually, well, once it was found out, a lot of people used it in Infection.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you go into the main building, go to the top floor where the jump is over the top, and then when you get there, just let me know. So it's like a jump right at the very top.
Yep, I'm there.
Right, so I think you're on the right side. Just double check, because I've got to wait for the stream to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, right. So on the top, if you go right to the very top of that ramp, don't jump off. Like go over that. Just jump. Just jump then. Just drive to the top of that ramp, and there's a flat bit of a surface you can drive to.
Yeah.
Once you've done that, turn the car to the right hand side.
Yep.
So you're facing all the way to the, as in, you're facing to the wall on the right.
Yep, I got that.
Right, give yourself a good run up. So back up. You might want to align it a bit more in the middle. Jump across. What you're gonna do is, I want you So as far back as you can go without falling off. Drive towards the gap, straight in front of you, as fast as you can. Ready?
Okay. 3,
Go.
2.
Just put your foot down and just jump straight.
Oh my goodness, what the hell? That is fantastic. Oh my god, do I have to hold the accelerator the entire time?
Hang on, wait. There you go.
Nope. Oh my god, that's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, that's a great note to end on.
For those that have never seen this is basically the infection-free zone. So, this weird glitch is useful for if you play infection. Now, if you're on the free map, which usually most people do, the car will stay in the air, and no matter how many times you get hit, regardless from behind, you can never get infected. Now, it doesn't always work. You can get infected times, but for the most part, say you get the Mini Cooper, you can get away, and cars can barely get near you. And when they do, they can't infect you. The collision detection's a bit weird. When you get bored and you want to get down, you can just reset, and it'll put you down. It'll put you back either on the floor below or back on the ledge where you originally were. Clever, isn't it?
It's fantastic, but I would not recommend using that online because you will get kicked out of the lobby real quick if you do that.
People think you get lagged. Trust me, I've done it before. It's a laugh because people all try it. And the thing is, we've tried to fit more than one car on that ledge.
Oh, really?
If you try and fit multiple cars in there, we've actually managed to get 2 cars on there, but it's very tricky because the collision detection, it balances one car on, so your car, like now, it's perfectly sat there. But then you can get a car, and if you, I think, probably if you got the Mini, you can do it. But you can have multiple cars on there. We've managed to get 2 on there, but no more. When we've tried adding a third, the car just hits the invisible detection barrier, which it's supposed to hit anyway, and it just falls down. For some odd reason, yeah, this is the thing. I don't know how. That is how you wreck Dirt 3.
That is great.
Now, bear in mind, it's not really useful for a speedrun, unfortunately, but for online of messing about in infection mode, you can show it off. It's apparently been a thing for years, but there you go.
So Codemasters never got around to fixing it then? Or just never noticed it, I guess?
Here's the best thing. They updated the 360, the PS3, Steam, every version of the game several times over, and not once did this ever get patched out.
That's great.
They didn't even know. Like, there was videos of it online, and they just never patched it. I'm guessing they were like, no one's going to abuse it, are they?
Famous last words.
If you're doing an outbreak game mode, you'll often find, including me, that a lot of people drive up here and try that first before they get infected. But it's a lot of fun. That's what Dirt 3 is all about. This isn't exactly part of the fun. There is some nice hiding spots though.
Yeah. There's definitely some
I enjoyed.
There's definitely some like odd respawn points. So like unfortunately within neither of these runs, there's a couple of tracks where like you can just cut like whole sections, like a single corner of the map because they didn't put the respawn in properly. So if you look at the Crocodile Point world record at the moment, there's this giant cliff that you're meant to go around, but you can just drive up the cliff, and if you go enough to the left, you don't get the respawn, and it's fun because you literally drive off a cliff into the finish, but you have to like crash into the finish in a certain way for it to work.
Bloody hell. God, you guys really are breaking. Good grief.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's a very solid game, but there's just a few quirks in there that are just a bit fun to mess with.
Well, on that note, I think unless you got any final words for anybody.
No, I'd just like to thank you guys for having me and letting me have this opportunity to see you guys.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you very much for being part of McRaeathon. We very much appreciate having your run. It's been absolutely awesome to watch, and to have both of your runs as well. I'm glad we managed to fit both in. And it was to our satisfaction and to yours, of course. And on that note as well, and on that bombshell, so to speak, we're actually going to just go to a quick intermission, and we'll be back very, very soon with final thoughts of day one from myself and from Joseph, who will hopefully join me in the commentary box, as they say for F1. And yeah, we'll be back very, very shortly.